If you're in business, you probably have a website, but can your site handle your growth? How many visitors before your site slows down or crashes? What about storage and data security? From web hosting to virtual servers, Pair Networks provides the online infrastructure you need to start, grow, and flourish. When it comes to security and updates, don't worry, we've got you covered. Our 24/7 US-based customer support is the best in the industry. No frustrating chatbots or sitting on hold for hours. Check out pair.com today to learn more. That's PAIR.com.
The Agile brand.
Welcome to the Innovation Economy podcast, where we look at the factors that drive business growth, including how people, processes, platforms, and places work together to create the future of work. I'm your co-host, Greg Kihlstrom, advisor and consultant for Fortune 1000 brands as principal and chief strategist at GK5A, and best-selling author and speaker, and host of the award-winning podcast, The Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom. This episode is part of our Inspiration Plus Location series, where we look at what it's like to build businesses, work, and live in an innovative place, and the role of location in a hyper-connected, hybrid work world. The Innovation Economy Inspiration Plus Location podcast series is brought to you by Arlington Economic Development, representing Arlington, Virginia, which is one of the most dynamic economic hubs in America, with resources for businesses from the Fortune 500 to startups and everything in between. You can learn more about them at www.arlingtoneconomicdevelopment.com. To listen to the latest episodes or sign up for the Innovation Economy newsletter, go to innovationeconomy.show or click follow on your favorite podcast app to make sure you hear the latest episodes. And now on to the show. This is a special episode brought to you by Arlington Economic Development in Arlington, Virginia. Today, we're going to talk about public-private partnerships and how they're essential to the visibility of creative and cultural expression in Arlington and beyond. The uniqueness of these initiatives is key to attracting and retaining businesses of all sizes to an area. And today, we're going to talk about this with someone who is directly involved in this in Arlington County. To help me discuss this topic, I'd like to welcome Josh Stoltzfus, Deputy Director, Arlington County Cultural Affairs Division. Josh, welcome to the show.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, looking forward to talking about this with you. Why don't we get started with you giving a little background on yourself as well as your role at Arlington County Cultural Affairs Division?
Yeah, so my origin story, if you will, is I'm a musician by training. That's how I got into this work. And for years, I was playing music and working in more commercial music field, festivals, independent record companies, booking agencies, and the like. And I got really interested in doing arts programming, which brought me into the nonprofit arts field, which ultimately is what led me here to Arlington County. And so I am still acting in that capacity for cultural affairs in terms of developing and producing original arts programming, but also working as deputy director in capacity around strategy and operational issues here for the division. So for someone who started out as a song and dance man, if you will, I'm kind of an accidental public servant now going on almost 12 years.
Nice. Awesome. Well, yeah, let's jump in here and let's start by talking about partnerships. And Cultural Affairs has built some strong relationships with businesses and business improvement districts or BIDs. What are some of the ways that Cultural Affairs Division has connected with these organizations to align aspects of their mission?
Sure. So two of our major placemaking anchors here in Arlington are the Columbia Pike Blues Festival and the Roslyn Jazz Festival. These are partnerships with the Columbia Pike Partnership and the Roslyn Business Improvement District, respectively. Long-standing relationships. These events are now in their 27th and 32nd years, respectively. Naturally, that relationship has evolved over the years as the events have evolved. But at this stage, we are involved in almost every aspect of those programs, from curatorial to marketing, logistics, and sort of soup to nuts. It's a really strong partnership with both organizations for these real large placemaking events. I'd say one of the things that's has been our greatest strength in this partnership is helping for these events to evolve and stay current and contemporary in terms of their programming, so that we can bring new audiences, constantly developing, refreshing that audience, both to highlight all that these communities have to offer, but also for the residents and for the businesses in the areas, but also as a spotlight for the wider region, for all that's happening here in Arlington. And we operate, in a similar capacity with some of the other bids and partnerships on at different scales. But those two events that kind of bookend the summer, and I'll take a minute to plug that. Blues Festival is June 15th this year, and Jazz Festival is September 7th. Those are the two big ones that start and end our summer here in Arlington.
Nice. Yeah, and so for those listening that are maybe a little less familiar with the term bid or business improvement district, just wondering if you could dive a little deeper on that. There's probably some obvious benefits that people could imagine, but what is it like to what is Arlington County doing? What are the bids doing in one or both of these festivals? I mean, obviously something's working really well if they're going on 30 years here, so sounds like it's been mutually beneficial. But could you talk a little bit about that? Who does what kind of?
Well, so, I mean, in the way that we partner, it tends to be around, or I will say cultural affairs partners tends to be around events. The bids and the partnerships are involved in many different capacities in terms of supporting businesses and in some cases residents, depending on how they're structured in their neighborhoods. The way that we intersect mostly is through events and programming. And what I think is, the way that they're structured is such as that in some ways they're kind of quasi-government agencies. They have the ability to either receive funds directly from local government or sort of a de facto tax that allows them to collect money through that stream. But what is interesting is that they're able to do things that, because they're embedded directly in the community, that say we can't necessarily do within the structure of the government. But they're able to support and partner in that way. But there are also things that they can't do. And those are the spaces that I think that we're able to step into, at least in terms of arts and cultural programming, to help support them, because they don't have that kind of programming staff typically as part of their organization. So we're able to shore that up with these types of partnerships around these events.
For any business to thrive, effective communication is key, not just for success, but for maintaining a healthy, respectful work environment. That's where Service Skills comes in, a proven e-learning platform that's transforming organizations through micro-learning modules. Think about it. Are your customer service interactions up to par? How inclusive and collaborative is your workplace? Service Skills offers hundreds of courses on everything from customer satisfaction and team building to management and respectful workplace practices. Validated by millions, these courses empower your staff to excel and communicate effectively, enhancing both personal and company-wide success. And the best part? It's all available at your fingertips with affordable pricing and flexible options that fit your organization's needs. Elevate your team's skills, boost workplace respect, and foster a culture of diversity and inclusion. Join the ranks of satisfied clients who've seen tangible results in performance and communication. Don't let a lack of staff resources be your downfall. Level up your people skills and build your dream team today. Visit serviceskills.com/podcast and let them know the Innovation Economy sent you. That's serviceskills.com/podcast, America's premier soft skills training.
Summer concerts, pool parties, chill nights under the stars. We're stocking up our closet so you're ready to look your best for all of it. At Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston, we're buying all things summer. So bring in your tees, tote bags, sandals, sunglasses, and more. We pay cash on the spot for gently loved name brand looks. Plato's Closet is the go-to destination for trend-forward teens and young adults who support local and shop sustainable. Visit Plato's Closet today. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
If you're in business, you probably have a website, but can your site handle your growth? How many visitors before your site slows down or crashes? What about storage and data security? From web hosting to virtual servers, Pair Networks provides the online infrastructure you need to start, grow, and flourish. When it comes to security and updates, don't worry, we've got you covered. Our 24/7 US-based customer support is the best in the industry. No frustrating chatbots or sitting on hold for hours. Check out pair.com today to learn more. That's PAIR.com.
So one thing that I know Arlington's gotten a lot of great press around and a lot of notice around is developments like companies like Amazon moving HQ2 to Arlington, Virginia. What are some of the ways that cultural affairs can help and augment projects like these?
Yeah, so that's a great example. Creative placemaking is a major focus for Arlington Economic Development, of which cultural affairs is a division. And within cultural affairs, the public art unit plays a key role in that effort as they manage 80 permanent works in the collection and stewarding all the new projects that come online, both county initiated and developer funded projects. For a major development like HQ2, public art is one of the 5 county benefits negotiated as part of the developer's site plan. So Amazon chose to make a public art central to the identity of their HQ2 Metropolitan Park, which contains several notable additions, including Queen City, which is the artist Nikisha Durrett. There are a number of ways that we supported that effort, including coordinating with the artist and Arlington Historical Society, Arlington Public Library, the Black Heritage Museum as well, to aid the artist in their research. And a number of the artists that contributed ceramic work to that also were in residence at the county-owned and operated LAC studios here in Arlington as well. So there are a lot of different ways that we can support a project like that. And that's just one example. Queen City, of course, is, for those who haven't seen it, it's a 35-foot tall structure. And the interior of it contains 903 ceramic vessels that represent the African-American residents that were displaced in 1941 from the Queen City neighborhood that was raised to build the Pentagon. So a little bit of a hidden history for some, for others very familiar with this story, but a unit like public art within cultural affairs plays an integral role in supporting Amazon's effort in a project like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's some powerful ways of communicating things, and some great ways to support those stories being told and captured and shared. And by being such a big public benefit, how can businesses and their employees as well as residents experience some more of these cultural offerings that cultural affairs has to offer?
Well, so I would, be remiss if I didn't mention in this conversation that they can go to arlingtonarts.org.
Yeah.
And learn about all that. Sign up for our newsletter and learn more about all of the programming that's happening here in Arlington. We make a really strong effort to not only promote the programs that we're directly involved in or supporting through financial matters, but also trying to sweep up everything that's happening in this area to provide an opportunity to see the full continuum of expressions that are available here, from public art to free public programming, ticketed events that are going on throughout the county. A couple of anchors for us in terms of free events, which is a big part of what we do. The Level Run Summer Concert Series. We do 24 summer shows a year in the Arlington Forest neighborhood, and those are all free, Friday and Saturday and Sunday. We're running programs, other partnerships like the Clarendon Alliance for their Music by the Metro series, which is free music out at the Clarendon Metro station every Thursday in May. And then programs like the Arlington Art Truck, which are out and about 30 to 40 different activations from April to October, bringing artists in residence and free public interactions with arts programming throughout the county.
Well, and it sounds like there's a lot of there's a lot of programs, but there's a lot of diversity in the programs. How do you look at innovating in this area? How does Arlington Cultural Affairs look at potential of a program and weigh that and decide kind of what to invest the time and effort into?
Sure. So, I mean, we talk a lot about the idea of placemaking and its role within economic development. But at the end of the day, this is a cultural affairs division. And so we are, primarily concerned as far as the issue of diversity goes, that we want to be able to put out a public program that represents diversity across a number of different factors. Now, that includes artistic discipline. I think there are very few that we are not involved in some capacity, culture and expression within those disciplines, factors of gender and age. We want to see all of those represented so that the community that we're serving has the opportunity to see themselves in these programs. That you might not necessarily like every single thing we're producing, and I certainly wouldn't expect anyone to, but there is an entry point across every age, I think, and experience in Arlington to find themselves within one of these programs. And if we can reach the community and be able to communicate all that we do, I'm certain that people can find something that they would find of value and enjoy experiencing here in Arlington.
Yeah. And, I think I would have my own answer to this question, but just while I have you here, what is there seems like there's a lot of benefits to the residents and the individuals to take part in these programs and experience them. How should businesses be thinking about access to these programs? Like Arlington is a very diverse place. There's a lot of opportunities there. How should businesses be thinking about that in terms of, those companies that might be thinking about moving headquarters or opening up another location, or even, small businesses starting, how should they think about the way that a place is, treating these public private partnerships?
I think it really depends, on the business. But one of the things that I emphasize here within our own team is that, the idea of placemaking is kind of one of these terms that is a little bit of a misnomer. We're trying to bring out place that exists already. We're not making anything. Rather, we're just accentuating and bringing forth that which is already here. And some of those stories are hidden and not obvious at first glance. And in some cases, they're very on the nose. We're going to produce a program that has a very direct correlation and obvious to the space that business or that community is occupying. But the idea that investing in those stories and being true to that is for me the way to think about it. And I think that having those conversations with businesses and being able to outline all the different ways that they can get involved, besides maybe what they're seeing on the surface, is really where to find those opportunities. Because those are the resources that we have. Those are the kinds of stories that we can bring forward. And those happen through, deeper level engagements with our businesses. Partnerships are kind of like friends, right? Like you put the work in, and then the language sort of becomes shorthand, and you understand each other and where that natural overlap is in that sort of Venn diagram between, arts and business, and really leaning into that. And that takes a level of commitment and engagement, right? These things don't just happen overnight. There's opportunities to do this work, but it takes time, right? And that sort of speaks to the nature of partnerships. There are obvious ways that these things make sense, but when you put in the deeper work, you get to see all these other benefits in the ways that you might not necessarily think about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Josh, thanks so much for joining. One last question, kind of building on what you were just talking about, but one last question before we wrap up here. If you had one piece of advice to give about creating more mutually beneficial public-private partnerships, what would it be?
Well, so building on what I was just saying, I think just from a tactical standpoint and just sort of getting on the same page, it's always clearly defining roles and responsibilities, right? So one, building that level of trust, and that's sort of like an ongoing process on both sides. Obviously not just going to your partner when you need something, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
But once you have that relationship built and that trust that is established, really leaning into, okay, what is it that you do well, and where can we shore you, and what do you not, and where can we shore you up, and vice versa, right? So that it is truly a partnership where everyone is getting something out of it. I mean, that seems obvious, but like I've seen in so many times in practice how it doesn't actually work that way.
Yeah. That's great. Well, again, I'd like to thank Josh Stoltzfus, Deputy Director, Arlington County Cultural Affairs Division, for joining the show. You can learn more about Josh and Arlington Economic Development by following the links in the show notes. Thanks again for listening to the Innovation Economy podcast, brought to you by Arlington Economic Development. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to subscribe on your podcast channel of choice and leave us a rating so that others can find the show more easily. You can access more episodes at www.innovationeconomy.show or on your podcast platform of choice. The Innovation Economy is produced by Missing Link, a Latina-owned, strategy-driven, creatively fueled production co-op. From ideation to creation, they craft human connections through intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Until next time, let's keep innovating.
The Agile brand.
You love podcasts, the stories, the laughs, the unexpected turns. But when this episode ends, the silence starts. Not anymore. Audiobooks.com turns that silence into your next great adventure. With over 450,000 titles, from bestsellers to hidden gems, your love for listening just found its new best friend. And because you already know the joy of audio, we're giving you 3 free audiobooks to start your journey. Imagine your favorite podcast, now with unlimited episodes. That's audiobooks.com. Keep the story going. Sign up for your free trial at audiobooks.com/podcastfree today. Because for podcast lovers like you, the end of an episode is just the beginning. That's audiobooks.com/podcastfree.
Whether you're looking to build a website for your business, your hobby, your podcast, or just for fun, Pair Networks is your go-to web hosting partner. Not only do we have the lowest domain price in the industry, starting at just $11, we've got hundreds of stunning website templates to help you stand out from the crowd. You're not a techie? Not a problem. With our easy DIY site builders, you can launch your impressive website without any technical know-how. And when it comes to security and updates, don't worry, we've got you covered. Our 24/7 US-based customer support is the best in the industry. Check out pair.com today to learn more. PAIR.com.